Welcome to Bee in the Garden. Welcome. That was a bit aggressive, wasn't it? Let's do that again. Take two. Welcome to Bee in the Garden. Welcome to Be in Nature. My name is Tossie. You are so welcome. I trust you are well. I certainly am. Today, I'm going to be taking care of my grapevine. I'm at the back of the garden in an area where I'm going to be doing some major work at some point, but I have a grapevine that hasn't really been trained and it's sort of growing everywhere. I'm not particularly going to be harvesting the grapes from this vine this year, and it's for that reason that I'm cutting back at this time of year. We are at the end of August at the time of filming. So I really just want to tidy up this area. I planted this vine a few years ago, and when I say I've harvested grapes from here, I'm talking about tiny small bunches of grapes. But I'm trying to do a bit of a tidy up in this area. Work and commitments and projects has kept me away from this space, if the truth be told. So the grapevine is growing all over the place, and I really had no intention of harvesting the grapes from here this year anyway. But because it's sort of like sprawling everywhere, I am going to be just tidying back in this area. Behind the grapes I have a yew hedge, and I will be pruning that in shape as well. But for now, I will be just cutting the grapevine back. I know in different cultures the leaves of here can be consumed and certainly can be used to wrap around rice and different types of grains and things, but I don't use them as yet. I will do in the future, but not this season. And do you know how simple it is to take cuttings? With the grapevine, here we have, let's see, with the cuttings, can you see you have the leaf beneath, and then you have where the new growth, the node, is above. You can simply take a cutting of this and put it in soil, and it will grow a new plant should you wish to. It's important to remember which way is up and which way is down, because if I were to cut that into pieces and turned it that way, you may not remember which way is the growing area and which way is up, which way is down. So if you always remember with the grapevines, the leaves actually sort of flow downwards for the most part, and then you have this node or nodule, and it's from there, if this is planted into the soil, where the roots will grow. So if you take a cutting, you can remove the lower leaf, remove the lower leaves, and then stick this in soil, and it will regrow another plant. So I have taken cuttings in the past and gifted them to friends, but today I'm not doing that. I'm literally just trying to tidy up this area. Another way, if you like, to remember which way is the growth part of the cutting is as it grows, it does tend to get thinner the higher up. So you can often tell from the thickness of the branch or the stem which way is up and which way is down. I have some fennel growing in these pots here, and the grapevine has twined itself all the way around. Here are some old stems of the fennel, but it's also got some seeds on here. I'm going to cut this particular one out though. As soon as you cut the fennel, you smell its licorice sort of aroma immediately. It's a delicious smell. Fennel is said to be really good in salads. It's meant to be really good for the digestive system, I understand. Look at this ladybug here. Can you see her? Not sure if I'm in shot there. Ladybugs are a good sign of healthy gardens as well. But here we've got the fennel, and the pods here will just dry out and self-seed. But we've got a lovely ladybug there. I won't disturb. I can see a tiny cluster of grapes down here. I have a few rogue Swiss chards growing here, rainbow Swiss chard, and here is the grapevine. Its base or its trunk is in there somewhere, and you can see that it looks really very old, doesn't it? But amongst here I do have some small clusters of grapes, and what I'm going to do is just prune back the leaves, really, leaving the bunches of grapes to just continue maturing to whatever stage they get to this season. But there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of growth that the vine has put on, and I want to remove all of that. So back here again, you can see some clusters of grapes. They're quite low down because I didn't support this year. Because I had no intention really of growing the vine, but now that it's sort of doing its own thing, I need to control it somewhat. I love the garden being being natural, of course, but there's always a balance between letting the garden do what it pleases and having a balance where it's still, approachable for people to come and enjoy the garden. So I'm just cutting back a little bit here. Some of the grapevine has twined and intertangled with my yew hedge back here, and so I need to sort of sort that out. That's what I'm working on today. Okay, so thank you for joining me. I'm just going to be tidying up back here a little. It has a strong grip, does the grape. By removing these leaves, it might actually encourage the bunches of grapes themselves to just swell and grow. I'll try and get this watered up a lot as well, just to see if I can get the bunches to swell as best as possible in the time of the season, in the time that we have remaining of the season, the growth. So how I'm pruning back is just checking to see whether there is a cluster of grapes, and wherever this one, I mean, it's almost pitiful, isn't it? There's only a few down here, but what I am trying to do is just wherever there are a cluster of grapes, I'm going to cut back as far back, but just before the cluster itself. I'll remove any unwanted plants, aka wildflowers. So I'm just finding a branch, a vine, and working my way backwards. You see that there? Working my way backwards to where there is a bunch of grapes, and I'm just cutting just before. What I might do as well, just see if I can find a temporary trellis to hold these up. I've been sat here for a moment and a robin came and not only drank from the bird bath, but was also having a bath and splashing around in the bird table. And that was beautiful to see. I've just set the camera up here and I'm really hoping that the robin will return. So let's wait and see. I'll give it a moment and then I will have to return to doing the task in my garden, which was pruning back the grapevine. But I'm just sitting here beside the pond area and it's been beautiful seeing the birds come and feed from here. But when I say feed, take water. And in particular, just a moment ago, I saw the robin coming and bathing. Temperatures here in the UK are as hot as maybe 24 degrees Celsius, that is. So it's on the warmer side of summer. And if we can in nature, put out some areas so that, okay, I'm just going to be silent now because the robin is just above my head. I don't think the robin feels comfortable with me being so close, so I'm going to move on. Thank you for being patient with me here though, but it was a beautiful sight. You just have to imagine the robin coming down into the bird bath and just splashing around. But alas, I have a task to do, and so I'm going to leave the robins for now and I'm going to return to my job, which is pruning back the grapevine. As I walk back to the grapevine, look at some of the beautiful apples that nature has gifted me from this fabulous apple tree. I can't wait to pluck these. They're really very nearly ready. Really very nearly ready. But I look forward to enjoying those. Nature has also gifted me some blackcurrants. Nature has also gifted me some pears. Why? Because I've been the steward of the gardens and I've taken care of the fruit trees and the berries, and in return nature is feeding me. I need my gloves for this one. These are some brambles, otherwise known as blackberries. They're just in a place where they are. I'll see if I remember at the time of editing to put the name of this plant in. This is actually growing from my neighbour's garden, and it loves to grow around water areas. I think it's called, its lay term is horsetail, and they're very prolific. They grow without any attention. They will absolutely take over a whole area if you're not careful. It does love water. It does love growing around bogs and ponds and wet areas as well. There's nothing wrong with this plant. As I've always said, there's nothing wrong with any plant. It just depends if they're growing in the place where you want them to. And then sometimes you have to manage things in the garden. So that's why I'm just trying to remove some of these plants. Okay, so that was a quick job today. That was quite a quick task. But it's good to do that in the garden. Sometimes I have such large projects that I feel I can't get them all done. But this task was really just to prune back the grapevine and tidy up a little bit. And I've done that, so that's definitely a thumbs up for me, and hopefully you'll feel the same and give me a thumbs up too.